was like the first time I actually had that conversation with myself. I was like, man, I could compete anywhere. I don't have to.
Seven-time Mr. Olympia Phil Heath speaks on wanting to make a comeback to the bodybuilding stage, plus it might shock you which stage that could be. Also, he speaks on Carlos Thomas Jr.'s guest posing, Big Ramy, men doing figure, plus much more. What's up, Desktopers? Xavier Wills here for Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are back for another video, and this is a big one. Phil Heath has indicated he wants to make a comeback to the bodybuilding stage. Which stage that will be, you guys will have to listen on to this video. So Phil Heath went live on his Instagram just this morning, your guys' time, last night my time, and he had some pretty interesting things to say, but not just about making a comeback, but also about his health, Carlos Thomas Jr. and his guest posing, what his opinion was on that, and what he thought about the vloggers like myself and our opinions on it. Also discussed a man potentially doing figure, plus so much more. So let's get straight into it and discuss all of that and see what Phil Heath had to say.
What do you think of Carlos Thomas Jr.'s guest posing? I thought it was good. I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, you know, I'm not trying to talk shit, but a lot of vloggers, man, like, you guys don't know what to look for. And I say that because majority haven't competed at a high level or have been judged at the highest level with their own physique. I do think that he looked good, but I didn't know how many weeks out he was. Because partially for me, I'm like...
So Phil's obviously talking about, because this is based off me asking a question about Carlos Thomas Jr., he's saying obviously vloggers, that means like YouTubers and whatnot as well. I feel like, though, I slightly disagree with Phil Heath on this point, because there are judges out there that have never competed themselves. They obviously have a deep knowledge of bodybuilding. They know what they're looking for, all that sort of stuff. I've been around this industry for a long, long time. I mean, my dad competed. I got into bodybuilding and following it when I was about 13 years old, and I'm 33 now. So about 19 to 20 years I've been following bodybuilding pretty in depth. I've gone to shows, gone to pro contests, been backstage at pro contests, done all that sort of stuff. So I feel like I have a pretty decent knowledge on what to look for in bodybuilding, and the criteria has changed over that time, no doubt. So I feel like I have a decent knowledge of it, but obviously someone like Phil Heath, who's been in so many contests, won 7 Mr. Olympias, he's going to have no doubt a better idea of it. He knows these judges personally. He speaks to them. So there's no doubt that a guy like Phil will have a better idea on what to look for than myself. But I feel like still my opinion is somewhat valid.
With the quality, the poor quality of these pictures and video, it almost makes it look like he's not in tip-top shape, which I'm sure he is. That's what I hate. It's like we're in 2023 and folks can't get like real, like it's just mind-boggling, man. Like can you hook up a DSLR to the Wi-Fi and actually like stream properly? Pay a company to go do this so then you can get better quality. So then when I'm asked these questions about someone's conditioning and stuff, you know, because that's really what guest posing is. Like, is he missing body parts? I don't really think so. I think his legs look.
So Phil makes a great point, because there is no high quality footage that I've seen. I mean, this is some footage I've actually seen just recently put out, and this is probably the best thing, but he's not even on stage. I mean, I'm in shock that there's no one in the audience, whether they had restrictions on people being able to use cameras and whatnot in the audience, because we do know that happens, and people just end up getting iPhone footage of these guys guest posing or on stage. Sometimes at bodybuilding contests, we have no high quality images coming out. And to me, that's completely mind blowing. I mean, if I was putting on a contest like this, I'd make sure that there's people with high quality video cameras. I'd get Gilco or someone like that at the contest, because he does amazing work. And you know that the competitors, the guest posers, and obviously the people watching at home and on social media are going to have the best quality footage being seen of your show, and people are going to come back to it. But also, even on Carlos's point of view, I mean, I would make sure I had someone there that had some sort of decent quality video camera or camera to take photos or something, so you can put this content out, because this is a huge boost for Carlos Thomas Jr. You know, just from your iPhone footage. Imagine if we had some high quality footage, it'd be even more next level.
Freaking huge, and they're striated, which is crazy. I think, yeah, he's going to bring you that conditioning in, but he needs more separation. He's definitely got whatever that that little stuff going on in the chest where it starts separating, like in the middle toward the bottom. So he's got that. He's got some diastasis recti going. That's me critiquing.
So Phil has the knowledge of that. So impressive on Phil, and shout out to Phil for giving his unfiltered opinion as well on IG Live. So thank you so much to Phil Heath for doing this and obviously creating the content for this video. But he does mention that, you know, he wants Carlos to get some more separation, which fair enough. I mean, but I think there's guys with even less separation than Carlos out there that tend to do pretty well in bodybuilding shows. But yeah, Phil seemed pretty much overall impressed. And the conditioning is the one factor that I'm slightly concerned about with Carlos Thomas Jr. because everything else to me is there, and he has an incredible amount of muscle.
I'm hitting y'all with the energy and the lens that y'all hit me with, and that I hit myself with. He's got to really be careful about the diastasis recti into his career, and he's got to be more concerned about this whole chest thing that he's got brewing. Outside of that, he needs separation. I'm not gonna tell you where, y'all can figure it out, but I definitely feel like his legs are so beefy. He gonna hurt some fucking feelings for anyone that does not have round quads and hammies. He's gonna hurt some feelings, man. It's bad. It is bad news for a lot of people with that type of thickness. And I don't know, I think he's kind of short, right? So he packing some muscle. So it's going to be interesting to see.
So totally agree with Phil Heath. I mean, Carlos Thomas Jr. this year, I believe, is going to break some hearts unless he misses his conditioning at Chicago, then shuts it down. But 2024, regardless, that is the latest that I see Carlos Thomas Jr. tearing it up, not only on pro stages, but on the Mr. Olympia stage, or maybe even the Arnold Classic stage. I just think that Carlos Thomas Jr. is going to be an absolute phenom. So really appreciated hearing Phil Heath's opinion on that and answering my questions as well. So I encourage everyone to follow Phil on IG, and also, you know, when he goes live, check out his lives. He answers your questions. Like, he stayed in there for a while he's doing his cold plunge, and then even when he got out, he stayed on there for a fair while. But let's get on to the next point where he talks about Big Ramy.
What about Ramy? I think Ramy has a real opportunity to figure this out, and I think he looked better at the Arnold Classic. I was actually there. I wasn't sitting, I wasn't sitting in the audience. I was actually in the green room. But yeah, I'm very perplexed as to why he received that placing. I have my own thoughts, but I almost feel like I need to talk to some judges to understand like what their mindset was too.
Yeah, and that's the sentiment of the fans as well. Many people believe, and even some industry experts believe, that Ramy should have got a better shake and a better look at the 2023 Arnold Classic. Even Milos Sarcev, who was coaching Samson Dowda, believed that Ramy deserved to be compared to that top three. So Big Ramy, for, I think the placing sort of dictates people thinking, oh, he's done. He couldn't even win the Arnold. He couldn't even be top three at the Arnold. But in reality, I think Big Ramy looked pretty damn good, and Phil's of that same opinion. And he actually mentions as well a little bit later on, I didn't want to include too much in here of that, but he actually mentions about getting potentially Steve Weinberger on his YouTube channel and discussing it, because he'd love to get more clarity on that and speak to some more of the judges. So I love to see that Phil's still so passionate about being invested in this sport.
A lot of people ask me if I would ever get back on the stage. It was funny. I was thinking about it. I was literally thinking about this yesterday. I'm like, I wouldn't have to do the Olympia to get back on the stage. I could do any show. That's what's funny. It was like the first time I actually had that conversation with myself. I was like, man, I could compete anywhere. I don't have to just do like the Olympia. I could just, competed last week. Just did that just to do it and then do something else.
So that's super interesting. Now, Phil actually said something prior to this, and that's what gave me the impetus to actually start recording his IG live. So Phil actually said, I believe, now I'm not quoting this exactly because I don't have it for a fact, but I wrote down when someone actually asked about what he's taking and stuff right now, and he said, oh, well, I'm not taking much right now. You know, he talked about potentially ramping it up, and he works with Transcend as well. So I wanted to give his sponsor a shout out. He says, that's on the table. So I hope I can make that happen, because he's talking about a comeback. So I believe it was that. If that's not the exact quote, it was pretty damn similar. So I started asking him a question. Are you talking about a comeback? Are you talking about a comeback? He didn't answer my questions directly there, but that's awesome. Like, if Phil's going to make a comeback to the stage, I think many fans will be very excited about that. And I know many of you guys will be excited about it. So let me know what you think in the comments. Will Phil Heath make a comeback to the bodybuilding stage? Would you like to see Phil make a comeback to the bodybuilding stage? Let me know in the comments below. But we've got a couple more things in this video that Phil Heath discusses as well. And one of them is potentially a man doing figure.
Here we go. Someone's going to ask me about some transgender female going male, going to compete in women's figure. What's your thoughts on that? It ain't about what my thoughts are. It's about what the judges thinking. That was bound to happen. I just think a male doing figure, that's going to be kind of difficult, I think.
Phil's right. I think that's going to be difficult too. And I love his facial reaction when he sort of plays it out and thinks about it. I don't know. That just had me laughing.
Because we're looking at the female body, and we're so used to seeing that the male body structure is not a female body structure, so it's just going to look different. I mean, in general, it's just not going to look right. So, in our sport, it's not the same. Yeah, we're just so used to seeing a certain criteria that he or she is going to, they're going to probably lose.
I totally agree. I mean, if you're a male doing figure, the whole structure is completely different. Like, put a bikini on a male and it just doesn't look at all the same. Even if you're a petite man, generally your shape and everything will not be the same as a female. But Phil actually responded directly to me. He uses the words desktop bodybuilding, and he talks a little bit here to wrap up the video.
Desktop bodybuilding, thank you. Yeah, I'll bring back to YouTube lives. I'm gonna have to do like lives on my YouTube channel. I have to really do them. Probably do some critique on some of these shows.
So that's super awesome. So I'm encouraging Phil to get back on those YouTube lives, because he started doing it. The views weren't huge, and I was sort of surprised at the start, but that's how YouTube works. You got to be consistent doing it every week, and that for a certain period of time. You see that with a lot of channels. They take, X amount of weeks or months to actually build up in that way. But his YouTube lives were awesome. It was Phil how everyone wants to see him. Super honest, super raw, not thought out. Particularly the questions were coming in live and he was just answering them. And he was just so open and transparent, and I absolutely loved it. So Phil, if you want any help with your YouTube channel, I can do some thumbnails for you or whatever, just reach out to me, hit me up, because I'd love to help, because I want to see your opinions out there, because it only helps me as well. I'm probably going to make content off it. So absolutely awesome. Love to see it. I'm excited for Phil to make a comeback. Some people would prefer you not to come back. Some people want you to come back. And it's very interesting that it may be a comeback not at the Mr. Olympia. So let me know in the comments, where do you think Phil will actually make a comeback? Because there are those rumors, and Phil had mentioned it on a recent episode of the Menace podcast, that he basically thinks Phil's doing a show next year just prior to his pro contest, which is the Detroit Pro. So that would be, I assume, between the Arnold Classic UK and Fuad's show. Or there might be another show in there like the Arnold Classic Brazil, because we know the Arnold Classic UK is coming back. The Arnold Classic's going to be at the start of the year, which is a great thing for open bodybuilding, because open bodybuilding really needs it right now. We need more of injection of money and big shows to the contest calendar to encourage these guys to compete a little bit more. And I encourage all pros out there, compete in multiple shows. If you are planning on doing a show to try to qualify for the Olympia, do 2 or 3. Look how much more popular Stanimal Stan Delonge is becoming based off doing 3 shows. If he'd just done that one, he would have come up, people would have noticed him, and then people would have forgotten about him pretty quick. But he's gained a ton of respect from doing show after show and continuing to come in condition. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think about Phil Heath and everything he said in this video, and would you like to see him back up on YouTube doing his lives? Anyway, guys, that's it for me. If you did enjoy the video, give the video a thumbs up, smash that like button, also subscribe and hit the notification bell button. That way you'll be notified of every video that goes up from myself, Xavier Wills at Desktop Bodybuilding. So for Xavier Wills, this is Desktop Bodybuilding, and we are out.